I'm going to say a number. 516 hours. That's 21 days. 3 weeks of my life handed directly to a fictional continent in exchange for horse knowledge, fog opinions, and 847 screenshots. I booted Crimson Desert up on release day thinking 1 hour, just see what it's like. I looked up and the sky outside was a different color. 3 unread text messages, no memory of what I'd planned to do that evening. Gone. Whatever it was, gone. Replaced by knowledge of the water physics system and a strong opinion about a fictional horse's saddle color. I haven't even gotten to the horse yet, just a saddle. But the weapons come first, because the weapons are where I stopped being a normal functioning person and started being whatever this is. Crimson Desert gives you an arsenal. Sword and shield, spears, greatsword, axes, ranged options, elemental enhancements you layer on top, and then sitting entirely separately from all of that, a full unarmed combat system. Not an afterthought, punches, kicks, grabs, throws, environmental interactions, a whole fighting discipline, just there, waiting. At first I thought I was a sword guy, classic, reliable, simple tastes. After 4 hours, gone, I was done with it. Then I entered my greatsword era. Something genuinely changed. The greatsword has weight. You commit to swings, you can't flinch out of them, you trust them or you eat the counter. And this started bleeding outward. I was moving slower through the world, pausing before entering areas, sitting still more. The greatsword made me a more deliberate and honestly more thoughtful person, and I don't know what to do with that information. Spear was different. 2 weeks of thinking about positioning theory. Poke cancel windows. I had opinions about range, which were spoken out loud to nobody in my apartment. Then I used axes for a while. I went somewhere darker, I won't elaborate. Then back to spear with elemental fire, and everything was on fire constantly, and that was its own era with its own personality. And then unarmed. I'm going to own the drama here. First full combo chain. Punch, kick, grab, throw. Watch the enemy hit a cliff face and react to terrain realistically. And I sat still for 30 seconds just processing what I'd seen. I stayed in that area for 2 hours testing throws. No quests, no story, just finding out what the physics would allow. Then I found a specific chain. Unarmed into terrain assisted collision cascade, and this is the build I regret. Not because it's bad, because it's too good and I cannot unlearn it. Every fight now, every weapon era, a background process running at all times. That ledge, those 2 enemies standing close, that slope is perfect. This doesn't ever turn off, I've accepted it. What I wasn't ready for was needing the outfit to match the weapons. There is a dye house in a Greyman camp. Oliver runs it. I walked in thinking, 10 minutes, nice touch, customization, fun little thing. That was the last coherent thought I had for several weeks. You can craft dyes from flowers, from insects, meaning there are now sessions, planned deliberate sessions, where I spend 30 minutes walking a field looking for a specific plant because I need a precise shade of crimson for a pauldron trim. A pauldron that no one else will ever zoom in on in a video game on a Tuesday. I call it lore accurate outfit curation, which means I have strong opinions about what my character would realistically wear, and those opinions change with every weapon era. Greatsword, dark iron, muted reds, no nonsense silhouette. Spear era, color palette, leaner, someone who clearly understands range. Unarmed era. I don't know what I was doing, but I spent a very long time on it and it was right. The horse stack has to match, obviously. I once refused to enter an enemy camp for 45 minutes over a color clash between my armor and Gregor's saddle. The palette wasn't reading as cohesive. I could not in good conscience walk in there looking like that. The entire community developed a fashion desert subculture. Endgame players, thousands of them. Not farming bosses, competing for best outfits, and recreating cosplay looks from other franchises. I found this community, I felt immediately seen. I also felt a quiet, low-level alarm that we all arrived here by the same exact road. The 847 screenshots I took are not chaos, they are records. A significant portion are just my character standing in a good lighting for color documentation purposes. Okay, Gregor. The game gives you a horse. Traversal mechanic, standard, big seamless open world, you need a mount, here's a horse. What the game does not prepare you for is that the horse will matter to you. Not mechanically, in a he's been through things with me way. I named him Gregor. The game has no horse naming feature. Actual design crime. Gregor doesn't know his name. Gregor will never know his name. He is Gregor anyway. This is not up for debate. Fast travel exists, I don't use it. Riding through this world at horse pace is one of the best experiences in a game and I refuse to skip it. I had an evening once where I rode the entire session with no destination. No quest, no plan, just because the forest looked correct. That was the whole session, not one regret. An NPC bumped into Gregor once. Accidental collision. Zero gameplay consequences. I felt a genuine flash of irritation and I had to sit with that for a moment. I am protective of a pixel horse. That is my personality now. I am this person. Then they added more mounts. Bears, slow, built like a wall, everything moves out of your way, different energy entirely. Wolves, fast, forward-leaning, predatory. A dragon, limited use, genuinely impressive. And eventually a late-game dwarf-engineered war mech with a machine gun, missiles, jump jets, and EMP blast. I used the mech for 1 hour, demolished everything in a large radius, felt completely empty. Went back to the horse immediately. Last thing, I positioned Gregor in the frame before certain screenshots. Adjusted his angle. Twice. For composition. Horse portraits, nobody asked. He looked incredible and I stand behind every single decision I made. Here's what happens when my brain meets a seamless open world full of climbing mechanics. I see a peak and I need to know what's on it. Not a choice, a non-negotiable compulsion. Hour 90, riding toward a quest marker. Reach to the east. That's probably nothing, I say to myself. I turned east anyway. Climbed for about 20 minutes, 4 regions visible simultaneously. I sat there. When I came back to myself, I had genuinely forgotten what the quest was. Not decided to ignore it, forgot. The world absorbed all available attention and the quest just ceased to exist as a real thing. This is what I call the mountain hermit phase. You climb one mountain and then it's a habit, and then it's a ritual, and then you have a specific ritual at a crossroads in a central region where every time you ride through it you stop and you look south because the mountain range looks a specific way from there that warrants a pause. Nobody told me to do this, no reward, no prompt. It developed out of repeated exposure to a view that deserved attention. Now, at around hour 70, my friend asked me how the main story is going. I had to think, because so far I had been farming dye flowers, collecting every mount type, doing faction lore quests for groups barely mentioned in the main narrative, gambling at an inn on a dice game I didn't need to engage with, and climbing mountains with Gregor. I had not advanced the main story in any meaningful way. Taking it slow, I said. Also, one more thing, there's an NPC I knocked unconscious in a random camp encounter, because the game lets you do this, and I just left. Took him out, walked away, forgot about it. It's been over a month, I still think about him occasionally. Just a thought. I wonder what that guy was doing there. That's it, that's the whole thought. This game made me feel mild guilt about an unnamed NPC I cold clocked and left in a ditch. And he surfaces in my brain a month later while I'm doing unrelated things. That tells you everything about how deep this world is lodged in my head. There was a dream. I was in Prequel, not playing it, in it. I was at the crossroads, mountains were lit the way they get at dusk, and I had the specific feeling of being somewhere I knew. Somewhere familiar. I woke up and my first thought was, I want to go back. The background music lives in my head. I catch myself humming the forest ambience track while doing unrelated things. In a work meeting once, the track was running in my head. It moved in without asking, pays no rent, takes up real estate. I have made Crimson Desert comparisons to real-world situations. Fog on a particular morning, involuntarily Highland Valley reference. Hiking on a weekend, terrain assessment for climbing potential. Drove past a farm, saw a horse, briefly evaluated what dye color would complement its saddle situation. Pivel sits in my memory the way real places do. I have emotional geography. That cliff means something special. That crossroads means something. I know this world with more detail and more feeling than some actual physical locations I have traveled to. I'm going to let that be whatever it is. Now, damage report, 516 hours, one horse with a name he doesn't know, 847 screenshots, 17 mountains I climbed without a reason, approximately 2 real-world hours of watching fictional fog, one crossroads ritual, one build I can never unlearn, one unconscious NPC I still think about, one dream about a fictional continent that felt like home. Would I undo any of it? No. Clinically, probably worth a conversation. Professionally, with someone qualified. But Pivel is a real place in my memory. The combat discoveries were genuine, Gregor has been a good horse, the fashion era is thoroughly documented and aesthetically sound. The folder is proof I was there. There's a region I haven't fully mapped, a dye combination I want to test, a physics chain I thought of in the shower this morning. And there's a mountain, far east on the map, visible from a different mountain I've already been to, that I haven't climbed yet. I don't know what's up there, but I do know Gregor is ready.